Welcome to Warhammer. Us here at Warhammer really enjoy kind of theory crafting on how to make underplayed units better. Obviously that's a thing we do with our Why to Try series, but after playing an extensive amount of Age of Sigmar in 2022, we kind of wanted to take a look and kind of talk about units that could use a glow up. Simple, one fixed change to make a unit that's kind of underperforming or just undervalued a little bit better. Starting off with the most recently updated entry on this list, we have the Morningfang Pack representing the Ogre Maw tribes. While their 3rd edition book came out strong and Morningfang definitely got a glow up, they still got left behind by Stonehorn and Iron Blaster spam. Now the change I would give Morningfang to make them worth their points is to make it so their trampling charge mortal wounds go off on a baseline 5 up. As of now, Morningfang have the Ogre keyword, so their trampling charge damage goes off on a 6 or a 5+ if they have 3 or more models in the unit. Makes sense for their on foot brethren, but on the mounted boys, since Morningfang are unit size 2, you have to always reinforce Morningfang to get the 5 up charge mortals, which seems silly gameplay wise and thematically as well. Just by simply editing the trampling charge trait to make it so it goes off on a 5+ for the Morningfang keyword would fix all of this. Onto the only 2nd edition rules we're covering in this video, and it's Senesa from the He Knights of Slaanesh. While Slaanesh has a whole cavalcade of issues and desperately needs their 3rd edition tome coming out later this year, I'd say Senesa has the most baffling of design decisions. Being sold as the caster half of the Dexessa box, she rightfully knows every single spell lore that Slaanesh has to offer, which quite frankly is awesome. Until you realize Senesa can only cast 1 spell per turn, and has no bonuses to cast. While the Contorted Epitome, the flying Slaanesh mirror of all things, has cast 2, unbind 2 with rerolls. So the change for this one is obvious. Give Senesa more casts. Either cast 3, unbind 2, or cast 2, unbind 2 with bonuses to cast. Because for 260 points, good God, does this poor He Knight need something. Now to the order side of things, we have the Arik Flamekeeper. A solid model with a thematic ability and super low points cost, he has seen play from time to time. But this model shows the bigger issue of small hero design in 2022, where they do something kinda cool, but A, the cool thing you have to work for, B, they lack a solid identity in the faction, and the Flamekeeper solidly has both these problems. Especially in Sigmar, where some of your model ranges are tiny, you don't want to have any bloat in your units, they all want to have a function. So the single change for the Flamekeeper is to make him a priest. Fireslayer prayers and invocations rock, and he already seems to have a priesty vibe, so why not? Knock the points up 5 to 10 if you need to, but I think it'd be important for heroes like him to gain baseline utility. Thankfully, we are seeing that with the current GHB, as of this video's release, focusing on low wound heroes like the Flamekeeper. Warping back to the realms of chaos with Papa Nurgle and his Plaguebearers. The Plaguebearers are indicative of another design annoyance where demons are weaker than their mortal counterparts because you can summon more of them in battle. While that isn't my preferred playstyle, Plaguebearers have especially fallen victim to this edition's power creep. Sure, you're paying only 150 points for 20 wounds with a 5-up ward, which is great, but offensively you're not doing much except fishing for disease points on 6s. And defensively, you have a 6-up save, which everything has Ren nowadays, and that is very bad. So the one change I'd give Plaguebearers is a 5-up save. Gaining an extra wound was clutch, but then losing the 5-up save from 2nd edition for a 6-up with a 5-up ward was questionable even upon release. Like I said, everything has Ren now, so your save most of the time is purely your ward save, which for the resilient faction is a huge letdown. On top of the fact that factions like Nighthaunt with a 4-up non-rendable save with a 6-up ward army-wide, plus free recursion from your heroes, or Slaves to Darkness, where Chaos Warriors have 20 wounds for over 200 points, but a 3-up save, 5-up ward to mortals, and if they are Nurgle marked ironically, they're -1 to be wounded, and can also hit back better in melee. Nurgle demons are really beginning to show their age in this edition, and a 5-up save would be the start to making these Plaguebearers a threat again. Last and certainly not least on our list is descriptor Mortis, suffering from not only Nagash's punishment, but also the design decisions we mentioned with the Arik Flamekeeper, except it's epitomized with descriptor Mortis. One of the longest worded abilities in all of Warhammer. He basically has an ability that has a slight chance to do 2d6 mortal wounds to a target he's written in his book. And that's it. Still an awesome looking model, but for 135 points, you need to dig deep for a reason to include him. Like the Flamekeeper we mentioned, giving these low wound models a purpose outside the current GHB is what should be the design focus. So the scriptor's change is simple: make him a wizard. Even if it's cast one, unbind one, he'd have more use outside of his swingy ability. On top of which, Nighthaunt needs more spell support, and this guy looks like he'd be a caster anyway. Why not give him that simple yet effective boost? So that's it! Obviously, there's tons more models that could use some love. We decided to stray away from the 2nd edition battle tomes because they just have their own set of issues and really need to be built from the ground up again. And also, we wanted to give you guys some room to comment and let us know what models would you like to see get just a simple change, get it back into your lists. As always, I am Rafik with Swolehammer. Stay swole.